Cancer, welcome to your Sidereal monthly forecast for September of 2015. My name is Athen. So a very powerful month this month. We've got those eclipses taking place. We have a lot of aspects with the slow-moving planets. It's always very important for you Cancerians when these eclipses take place, actually. I mean, for everybody it is, but it's involving your ruler, the moon. And Venus going station direct, Mercury going retrograde. We've got Pluto going direct. So a lot of things shifting and changing. I'm going to rush through it. I'm going to go through it rather quickly. If you have any questions, do let me know. But I do recommend watching your weeklies if you don't already, because there I go into more specific information about each of the transits and give a little bit more of that, more individualized perspective. So let's go and get into it. If you are new to this channel with Sidereal Astrology, do check the description down below, because this is different from mainstream astrology. Your sign might be different, so do check that out and make sure you're watching the appropriate video. So let's go and look at this, Cancer. So right on the first, we've got a conjunction. Actually, let me go and back up here. Go through this step by step. Right on the first, we have this conjunction between Venus and Mars on the first. And this is happening right on the cusp between your first house and your second house. So there's a lot of, first of all, there's a lot of activity in your second house. And this is the house of material values. It's the houses of finances. It's the houses of what, just generally what we value in life, but especially on that material level. So it can be assets, it can be finances, it can be the simple pleasures, it can be abundance, a lot of that stuff. But what's really shaping up and what's really changing this month is your sense of self-esteem, because this is the house where we start to realize how we can pursue what we want and go after what we want in life. And by putting energy into that, naturally, of course, self-esteem is a response, is what comes from that. So the big shift is right on the first with this conjunction, but also because Mars goes into that second house where he's finally in a friendly sign. He hasn't been in a friendly sign since Aries, just a long time ago. So I think there's going to be this boost, and I think this boost of energy is you guys being very motivated to really get that material security. Enjoy yourself, enjoy the simple pleasures of life, if you will, but anything else that is about what you value. So with that, I think you can enjoy all of that quite a bit. I think all of this reflection that maybe you've been doing in regards to your community stuff, organizations, or friends, which has been Venus retrograde, who rules your 11th house. Or maybe you've been also reflecting on home and family matters, maybe restructuring, redoing things around that sector with Venus retrograde. All of that is going to help motivate this energy in your second, okay? And it's also, and I think you're going to be motivated to really start to get things moving and get things changing with home and family, and maybe with the networking or friend sector. So that's going to be the blend of these two planets coming together. It's very passionate. It's yin-yang, masculine, feminine energy melding together, can create a lot of passion. And in your first house, it might have to do with relationships. Maybe some of you are going to be motivated on that regards if you haven't been already with Mars in your first house. But and it can also signify some new beginnings in those areas that I mentioned. So that's kicking off the month. And then also at this time, the sun is going to be opposing up to Neptune. So here, there's this recurring theme this month with Neptune. First, the sun opposes this position, then Jupiter opposes this position, and this is your 8th house. So it's this classic balance between what's taking place materially or financially for you. It's a reminder that there are other aspects of life, non-material aspects of life, spiritual, if you will, transformative, if you will, and maybe even if it's involving, say, relationships and things like that, it's realizing to maybe depend on others a little bit more. That although it is a time for you to really get that self, motivation going, that what do you call it, self-reliance going, rely on others a little bit more, maybe or be willing to receive help. And that kind of energy is what Neptune's been helping you balance generally for the past many years with this placement. And what you'll find is that whether it's through relationships or whatever, there is more faith, there is more trust. It's easier. It doesn't have to be all done within the self. So through that, there is, it's a relaxing kind of energy. So relaxing in sharing, relaxing in depending on others perhaps. And I think generally speaking, that'll be what will balance the second house for you. Now, this is also seen from you guys maybe, releasing yourself from unhealthy bonds or debts, even things like that, which could further facilitate the second house. So the key and my best advice with this is to, while you are pursuing the material aspects of life, which I think you will be, or definitely can be, the eighth house here is a reminder that there's the non-material, the non-physical, the deeper aspects of life. So connect to that. And I think you'll find that very relaxing, very spiritual, and really, easing up a lot of the second house energy. Because like I said, you've got a lot going on here. Now, from the 5th and 6th, Venus goes station direct, so those things relating to groups or friends or organizations and home and family stuff will start to move forward for you. Now, this does take time. Venus has to get out of her shadow period. But yeah, that's a shift, and you'll notice that shift sort of continuing as the month unfolds. Then from the 7th, 8th, and 9th, this still, first week to second week of the month, Mars is trining up to Uranus. So this is actually very supportive for those second house things. This might be new financial opportunities. It might be new opportunities for you to, take on, a sort of path to life that is a little bit more relaxing, because the eighth house is the second house is the simple pleasures, and we can relax into that, go into our senses, enjoy that good meal, that bath, that relaxation, things like that. And so it's a nice aspect here, and I think this is going to really facilitate more of that energy and more of that drive, which is certainly available in that sector. But where it's coming from is that there's been a lot of changes to your life path. Your ninth house, which is where Uranus is transiting. It's where we had the last eclipses. It's where we're going to have the lunar eclipse this month. There's been this importance of freeing yourself so that you can have, you can expand your horizons. You can approach life in a much more free-spirited and adventurous way. And that's been Uranus over the past around 6 years. So with that, I do recommend be open to changes along your life path. I think you naturally will be. Be open to tapping into that adventurous spirit, especially this first part of the month. And be willing to also change your philosophy, to see things in a new way, and maybe trust your intuition about your philosophy and outlook on life. And all of that you'll find, supporting this energy that you have. And it can mean, it can also mean maybe some new beginnings there, maybe a new philosophy, a new outlook on life, maybe an opportunity to go travel, or vice versa, maybe, some opportunities with the finances. So whatever it is, it's a very nice supportive energy, and I think it's going to create healthy changes in both the ninth and the second house for you around the 8th. Then from the 11th through the 17th, Mercury will be sextiling up to Venus. So this middle part of the month. And so this is going to be really activating this Mercury, who last month went into your third house. And this is where things are going to start to shift in the next coming months. Mercury in the third house is where you can really tap into your intellectual abilities during this month and onward. Mercury is going to go retrograde. So it's again, there's a lot of the shifting of your perspective on things, but this is more of the practical perspective of your mind, your rational mind. But before that happens, he's going to go retrograde, here on the 17th. So up until that point, I recommend this first half of the month, pick up that book, take that course, do that studying, exchange your ideas, communicate, socialize perhaps. The more you tap into that mercurial exchanging sort of energy and the mind energy, what you'll find is that you're learning a lot. You're learning a lot about yourself. And with that sextile up to Venus, I think you can enjoy a lot of that very much. I think you can also enjoy spiritual pursuits since Mercury does also rule your 12th house as well. So that's the middle part. Also, this middle part from the 13th to the 21st, Jupiter will be opposing up to Neptune. So just like with the sun, I think with all these opportunities and at least optimism that I think you do have about the material side of life, again, balancing that with the deeper trust, faith, going with the flow, not needing to have everything figured out, that kind of energy will help facilitate these new beginnings that are shifting up for you here in that second house sector for you guys. Big time. This is where the solar eclipse is going to take place. So let's go ahead and look at that. On the 13th, we've got that solar eclipse in your second. So this is new beginnings now, very powerful, more powerful than a traditional new moon, that are going to be unfolding over the next 6 months. So in the, the fall time period of next year. A lot of this is going to come to a culmination point. And during this middle part of the month, reflect on and set intentions with where you want to see yourself in 6 months in regards to these second house matters. If it is having more sensuality in your life, more enjoyment, what is the energy? What is it going to take to get there? This is a very grounded house. It's very much about our efficacy, what we can do, what we can accomplish. And through that, you'll find that you are building that sense of self-esteem and enjoyment in life just generally, even if you're just pursuing the purely material, like financial side of things. You'll notice that there's actually quite a bit of fun and quite a bit of enjoyment to be had, and that's seen by the fact that it's happening in Leo. So there's passion here, there's excitement here, and it is a spiritual time, and it's a spiritual month for everybody. But with you Cancerians, anytime you have this conjunction with the sun, which is every new moon, it's like your crown chakra really opens up, and there's divine information that really comes in. So it's so important for you during these time periods, and especially eclipses, to ponder, to reflect, to be open, and through that, it will facilitate more of these changes. So that's the 13th. All of this can be very healing. Also, it's opposing up to Chiron, and very powerful. It's trining up to Pluto. Now, on the 17th, Mercury goes retrograde. So continue to reflect on these new ideas. Whatever it is that you're redoing, rethinking about communication, about socializing, about learning, teaching perhaps. And this is a life path energy. Over the past 2 years, you guys have had the North Node transiting this third house. So whatever you've been perhaps working on these past couple of years, involving exchanging and writing and communicating or what have you, now reflect on that. Think about that. It's a lot of this introverted sort of energy about that. And what you'll find is you're learning quite a bit, actually, about yourself. You're learning quite a bit about life, and especially on a spiritual level, since Mercury does rule that 12th. So redo, rehash stuff that, like correspondence, paperwork, if it is on a more mundane sort of level, but really rehash the way you see things. Be open to that. Be open to change. And that's going to be a big sort of energy for you with this this later part, second half of the month, especially when we have this lunar eclipse in your 9th. Now, during this Mercury retrograde time period, pay extra attention to correspondence, by the way, and anything that does involve your mental faculty. Not that you will necessarily make mistakes, but you're more prone to do it on an inner level versus on the outer level, so it takes more attention on the outer level. But anyways, the sun does go into your 3rd. So here, I think, will be more intense on communicating, on gaining ideas, sharing ideas, expressing your ideas, and I highly recommend it. The sun will be conjoining up to the North Node a little bit later, so there'll be more shifts and changes about, again, you expressing yourself and you expressing your ideas more specifically. So you can see here over the next couple months, there's going to be a lot of shifting into more of the 3rd house energy for you. Now, from the 18th all the way into October, Saturn is going to be sextiling that North Node in that 3rd house. So here, Saturn has been creating structures in your life. Saturn in the 4th house of home, family, past roots, and more personally, or more generally rather, your emotional body. So there's this discipline, this foundation about your emotional body, this seriousness, this almost isolation, not necessarily in a bad way, but it allows you to be observant of how you feel and to not let your feelings run the show. So you're able to take a masterful approach to your decisions in life and a long-term approach to that. So that's what's going on internally. Now, externally, it might be that over the past couple of years, you guys have been starting a new home, a new family, remodeling or something like that. But step into that masterful emotional body, because you guys have had a lot of experience with this, and Mars is going to be a major player this month, just like all the other planets. And this is what will really ground you. This is what will keep stability for you, is everything relating to either emotions and home and family, but again, in a way that is tapping into the discipline there, the responsibilities there, taking a healthy amount of responsibilities in those areas, personal life. And you'll find that facilitating all of these life path changes, all right, which is that sextile up to that North Node. And it's going to help you communicate. It's a good synergy, actually, between the emotional body and the mind or the throat chakra, you see. So that's the 18th into October. Now, this 23rd through the 27th time period, we got a couple things going on. One is that sun conjoining up to the North Node I was talking about, some more shifts about insights. This can be a good, the more you express yourself and express your ideas this month in a healthy way, I think you'll find that unfolding, and it's helping you formulate more of these things that you're thinking about right now at the moment. But anyways, also during this time period, Mars is going to be squaring up to Saturn. So this is where we're all going to have a sort of test of patience in regards to what we're really passionate about, really motivated to achieve and get done this month for you. Again, material. So Saturn here says, okay, look, there has to be patience. Sometimes it feels like there's roadblocks, there's holdups. Not necessarily the case. It depends on your personal chart. But whatever it is, be patient, take it slow, think long term, and then it will help facilitate these, which there is, like I said, new beginnings in that second house, but it's long-term energy. It's 6 months. And so patience there, take it slow, work hard, but don't overwork either with the square. Don't take on too many responsibilities either, which is Saturn. And it's really a test of your perseverance and of your patience here. So, step into that maturity, that discipline, patience with Saturn. Okay. And through that, you'll find it actually very constructive, and you can probably get quite a bit done, even though it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of energy with that second house. And maybe even with the 4th as well. Now, also 24th, 25th, Pluto goes station direct. So there are things shifting in your 6th house. So this is over the past 6 months, anything that you've learned about work, anything you've learned about health, diet, routine, things of that nature, start to implement. I think naturally you will. It's stepping into a sort of power this month. Pluto is actually well aspected, all of the things being considered this month. So there's a tremendous power you can have when your routine's good, your health is good, you're waking up early, or your diet's good, or you go to work and you're really working hard and developing your crafts, your skills, and being of service to others can be a good source of strength. And through that, naturally, that area will continue to change. So maybe you'll notice some more changes involving those 6th house areas. And all of that is, again, facilitating this life path, shifts, changes there, and helping you step into more power, where you're really laying your foot down, saying, you know what, I'm going to take, power back in this part of my life in order to make positive change there. Because if we're open to change, if we step into that, openness to it, and we start to change that area, then there's no resistance, and it doesn't feel like it's happening to us. We become the agent of it. But I think this will come generally easy, again, depending on your personal chart, just because of Pluto's pretty well aspected this month. All right, so that's it for the major transits. Now, of course, we have that lunar eclipse taking place in that 9th, which is what this whole month is culminating towards. And this is the most important transit of the month. 27th, 28th, a culmination from over the past 6 months in relation to life path, in relation to your philosophy on life. Again, anything that you've been involved with over the past 6 months that was about a new path, about a new philosophy, a new outlook on life, maybe travel. Expanding your horizons is really the key with this. And so this month, as there's a lot of these shifts and changes happening on a more personal level, with, again, material, maybe with your mind and communications, here your perspective on life is going to really change. And it's really, and if you want to get an idea of what that is, look back to that May time period of this year, because the things that shifted there, those were the new beginnings. And now they're culminating. And again, it's an eclipse, so it's much more powerful than a full moon. And it's all about your life path. So around this time, this later part of the month, do reflect on your philosophy, on your outlook, on life, on tapping into more of that adventurous and expansive spirit. And what you'll find is that, you'll see it very clearly. And so what you guys are seeing very clearly this month is the life, and then, on the big picture sense, and then also on the more practical sense, the day-to-day sense, which is the 3rd house. You're seeing the possibilities as well as what the more practical steps that it takes to get there, or more of the rational mind. So this is the classical right side of the brain, which is possibilities, and the left side of the brain down here in your 3rd house, which is the rational, the day-to-day, practical side of things. So that's where you're going to have that illumination, and there can be a lot of energy actually around this time for you to pursue anything regarding that 9th house, whether it's university studies, studying, sharing information, and it's usually very spiritual for you Cancerians because it is happening in Pisces. But yeah, it's going to be a very spiritual month. Be open to new insights, to new perspectives, especially of the spiritual type or philosophical type, and you'll find all of this culminating to a big, powerful shift to your life path, which again, it's all more about grounding it and applying it on a practical level, which is the North Node in the 3rd house. All right, so that's pretty much it. On the 30th, Mercury does conjoin up to the Sun. So with that, again, just signifying more shifts and changes about your views and perspectives on life. So Cancer, have a good month. If you'd like to get more specific, do click the link down below for a personal reading, or check the weeklies, because in those weeklies I go into these in more detail. But let me know if you have any questions. Have a good month, and I'll talk to you all next time.